Get ready, because today we're doing a deep dive into something a little unexpected, bird flu. But we're not just talking about birds today.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to explore how scientists are using a pretty unusual tool to track this virus, wastewater.
wastewater. You mean like sewage?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's not what I was expecting.
I know, right? It sounds a little strange, but it turns out wastewater is like this gold mine of information.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What can you tell me about it?
Well, I've been digging through a bunch of research articles, and some of the findings are honestly mind blowing. Like, did you know that wastewater in several California cities,
Oh, wow.
including like San Francisco and LA, recently tested positive for bird flu?
Really?
Yeah, we were talking about H5N1, the virus that's causing all those avian flu outbreak.
Right, right.
Yeah, and what's even crazier is that this information is popping up on this platform called Wastewater Scam.
Wastewater scan.
Yeah, and it's giving researchers this like real-time look at how this virus is spreading. It's wild.
Oh, it's like what's that show? CSI.
Yes, exactly. It gave me major CSI vibes.
All right.
It reminds me of how we use wastewater testing during COVID to track outbreaks.
Ah, yeah, I remember that.
It's a similar concept.
So how is this different?
Well, it's trickier. H5N1 mainly affects animals like birds,
Right.
but it does have the potential to, jump to humans.
To humans. Ah,
That's what's so fascinating and a little scary, to be honest. Scientists are finding H5N1 in wastewater in places where they wouldn't expect it at all.
like where?
Well, like Amarillo, Texas, for you.
Okay.
Yeah, researchers there were finding high levels of influenza in the wastewater even after flu season was over.
So something wasn't adding up.
Exactly. And it turns out cattle in the area were infected with H5N1.
Wait, the bird flu was in cows?
Yeah, and it was showing up in the wastewater because of these infected cows.
Oh,
Further investigation revealed that milk processing plants were a big source of the H5N1 in the wastewater.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a game changer because it totally shifted how scientists were thinking about the spread of this virus.
So hold on, does this mean milk can carry bird flu?
Okay, so this is where it gets a little, unsettling.
Yeah.
But it's important to clarify that it's not the live virus that's in the milk.
Okay.
It's the virus's RNA, like its genetic material.
The RMA. Okay.
Even though pasteurization kills the virus, that RNA can still stick around.
Interesting.
Think of it like finding a fingerprint, by currency.
Ah, I see. So the culprit's gone, but the evidence is still there.
Exactly. So the milk we drink is safe.
Phew. That's good to hear.
But it does raise some concerns about, infected cattle being out there.
Yeah, I can see that.
But here's the good news. Wastewater surveillance can help us pinpoint those herds.
Pinpoint the herds.
Yeah, and then they can ensure those contaminated products are removed from the food chain before they even reach us.
Oh, wow. So it's like this early warning system.
That's a great way to put it. And you know what's really cool? Scientists have noticed that H5N1 detections in wastewater often happen before or at the same time they identify infected cattle herds.
So it's like a heads up.
Exactly. It's like this secret network of information flowing beneath our feet telling us what's going on.
So we're talking about milking cows. But what about the birds, right? Bird flu.
Oh, yeah. Well, scientists are also trying to figure out why California, of all places, is suddenly a hotspot for H5N1 in wastewater.
Especially in urban areas, right?
DAC, where you wouldn't typically find flocks of birds.
That is strange.
One feeling, and this is from Dr. Bohm, is that it might be linked to how people are disposing of milk.
Disposing of milk in their homes.
Yeah, and pouring it down the drain. Even if you do that, that viral RNA can still end up in the wastewater system.
That's pretty amazing.
It really is. It just shows how interconnected everything is and how valuable this wastewater surveillance is for understanding how diseases spread.
Okay, so we know it's being used to track the virus in animals, but are scientists also using it to look at the potential impact on humans?
That's the big question, right? And yeah, researchers are definitely keeping a close eye on any signs that H5N1 might be spreading more widely among people.
Why they?
They're comparing the wastewater findings to actual cases of H5N1 in humans. No, looking for any red flags. So that makes sense. And what makes it even more important? The possibility of the virus mutating.
Mutated.
Yeah, especially during flu season.
Oh, right.
Dr. Baum and other experts have been talking about this a lot. The more this virus circulates, the more chances it has to evolve into something that's more transmissible or even more dangerous.
So, why should I care about bird flu showing up in wastewater?
Well, it's like this. This seemingly obscure little piece of information could be a sign of something much bigger happening, like way bigger.
Or the warning sign?
Exactly.
Got it. So, understanding wastewater surveillance is crucial for, well, staying informed, Ray.
Absolutely. And frankly, it's a testament to how powerful science is. Finding solutions to these complex challenges. I agree. This has been a really eye opening conversation, but we've only just scratched the surface.
There's more.
Oh, yeah, there's so much more to unpack here. We'll be diving into those details right after this.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we've talked about how wastewater surveillance is like giving us this incredible look into the spread of bird flu. But I keep thinking, what if this virus is hiding in places we hadn't even thought to look?
That's a really good point, and it's definitely something scientists are looking into right now. We're seeing these H5N1 detections even in areas where there haven't been any reported cases in birds or humans.
So it's like this game of hide and seek.
Yeah, kind of. It makes you think there might be this whole silent reservoir of infection out there that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah, I remember reading the Dr. Bohm mention this. He was saying there might be infected animals, like maybe backyard chickens or other birds that aren't being tracked.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where wastewater surveillance becomes even more important because it can catch those pockets of infection that we might miss otherwise.
That makes sense, but how do we know it's giving us an accurate picture? I mean, there could be a lot of cases we're not seeing.
It's a fair point. Wastewater surveillance is still relatively new, and we're constantly learning new things about it. But it's been really effective at detecting this virus, even in small amounts.
So we're not just finding the virus, we're also understanding how it's changing.
Absolutely. Scientists are looking closely at the genetic makeup of H5N1 in wastewater, trying to find any mutations, things that might mean it's changing its behavior.
I read that there have already been some mutations. What kind of mutations are scientists worried about? What would make it spread more easily to humans?
So, one of the big concerns is the virus changing in a way that allows it to bind more effectively to human cells.
Bind to human cells.
Yeah, viruses have these proteins that are like keys. And to get into our cells, they need to fit into specific locks or receptors. Okay, so if it mutates and the key fits the lock better, that makes it easier to infect humans.
So it's like this race against time to try and stay ahead of the virus.
In some ways, yes. But the good news is that with wastewater surveillance, we can actually watch for those changes in real time. And we can adapt our strategies.
So this whole conversation makes me think bigger. If we can use wastewater to learn so much about bird flu, what else can we learn? What other things could we be tracking?
That's a great question. And honestly, that's what researchers all over the world are trying to figure out right now. Wastewater surveillance is incredibly versatile.
Like what else is on the horizon and what are scientists looking at?
Well, they're already investigating its use and tracking other things. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria, norovirus, even polio.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and they're also looking at it as a way to monitor drugs and chemicals in the community.
So it's almost like this whole new way to look at public health.
Exactly. It could totally change how we respond to different health threats, not just infectious diseases.
It's amazing to think that something like wastewater, something we usually don't even think about, can tell us so much about our health.
I know, but it really shows that there's value in unexpected places. And if we pay attention to these unusual sources of information, we can learn so much more about the world around us.
So all this talk about wastewater surveillance is really fascinating, but I'm sure some people are wondering, what does this mean for me? Like, should I be worried about bird flu?
I think that's a totally natural concern. Right now, the risk to most people from H5N1 is still pretty low.
But we have been talking about how things are constantly changing, so what can people do to stay informed and protect themselves?
Well, the most important thing is to stay informed. Pay attention to reliable sources like the CDC or the WHO.
And what about everyday things? Are there things people can do at home?
Good hygiene is always important, especially during flu season. Wash your hands a lot, avoid touching your face, and cover your coughs and sneezes.
What if someone is worried about their own situation? Like, what should they do?
It's always a good idea to talk to your doctor. If you have any concerns, they can give you advice that's specific to you.
This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive. Wastewater surveillance is clearly a big deal in public health, but we've also brought up some questions and concerns, and we're going to dig into those a little more after this. So we've been talking about how this virus is showing up in places we don't expect it to and how it's even kind of hiding. But one clue really stuck with me from all the research because it isn't like a regular bird flu, you know?
Right.
It's almost like it's trying to break out of the bird world
Yeah.
and hang out with mammals like us.
Yeah. You're right. This particular strain, H5N1, it is acting differently. It's spreading to more types of mammals and it seems to be spreading between them more easily too. And that's not typical for bird flu.
That's what makes it kind of scary, right? So, what's the risk to us? What's the risk to people?
That is the big question. And science is paying very close attention to it. The worry is that if it keeps circulating in mammals, it might change and become easier to spread to humans.
That's what I keep thinking about this whole time. You have this hidden threat.
It's definitely a valid concern, but that's where wastewater surveillance is so valuable because it can track those genetic changes in real time. Yeah. So we can see any mutations that might mean it's becoming more dangerous to humans.
So it's like an early warning system, basically.
Exactly. It's a chance to be proactive and get ahead of it. And that information helps public health officials decide what to do. Right. Like whether to develop vaccines or antivirals.
That's good. That's reassuring. So it feels like we're not just sitting here waiting for something bad to happen. We're actually doing something.
Exactly. And it highlights a really important point. This isn't just about bird flu, it's about how we deal with new infectious diseases, all kinds.
This deep dive has really made me think about how everything's connected, our health, animal health, the environment.
Exactly. It's all one big system.
It is. So, and we wrap up this fascinating deep dive. What's the one thing you want listeners to take away from all this?
I think the most important thing is to be aware. Be aware of this virus and the potential threat, but don't freak out.
Great.
Stay informed. Follow the recommendations from public health experts and support the efforts to monitor and deal with these kinds of risks.
That's great advice. This has been an incredibly interesting conversation. We started with bird flu and wastewater, and now we're talking about the future of disease surveillance and a One Health approach. It's amazing how much one topic can teach us.
It really shows the power of curiosity.
And on that note, I think it's time to leave our listeners with a final thought, something to think about. If wastewater can reveal so much about bird flu, what else can it tell us? What other diseases could we track? What other mysteries are waiting to be discovered?
I love those questions. The potential of wastewater surveillance is huge, and we're just getting started. Who knows what we'll find in this hidden world beneath our feet?
It's pretty exciting to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.